C.H. Spurgeon Sermons, New Park Street Pulpit, his signature, Volume 1, 1855. There's another look at the spine. Hey guys, Joe here, back to the Word. In this video, we're going to be unboxing the 6 volumes plus index that just came out from RHB and Midwestern Spurgeon Sermons, the revival years, the first 6 volumes of a promised republishing of sermons, of 63 volumes of Spurgeon Sermons. So these are going to be the New Park Street Pulpit years of 1855 to 1860, plus the index for all 63 volumes. We're going to do the unboxing, and then I'm going to share a little bit about why I got these and my plans for the future with these volumes. I'm also going to do a longer video on the publication history of Spurgeon's sermons. This set and purchasing it got me into asking what collections of Spurgeon sermons have been published, what's the publication history, how can you get all of Spurgeon's sermons, access that you can read and learn from and encourage in your spiritual life. So I'm going to do a video on that in the future. It'll be linked in the description once it releases. Also going to do a video separate on the history of these years right here in this set, the revival years, Spurgeon's time at the New Park Street Chapel. Want to share that with you guys, and we'll do that in a separate video that I'll link in the description as well. So let's get into the unboxing together. So this is how it came from RHB. There was a box, as I just showed you in the intro, and then inside that box is another box. I've gone ahead and taken the tape off to kind of speed up the process. So here they are, 6 volumes plus the index. I think they are, yes, they are individually wrapped. Look at that beauty right there. C.H. Spurgeon Sermons, New Park Street Pulpit, and the Metropolitan Tabernacle Pulpit. So the church changed locations and names partway through ministry. I'll cover more of that in the history video. I'll link in the description below for this video. But this is the complete index of all 63 volumes. So there's the spine. We'll get a look at it here in a little bit. But New Park Street Pulpit, Metropolitan Tabernacle Pulpit, and then you have Spurgeon. And then this is a joint republishing effort of RHB, so Reformation Heritage Books, and Midwestern Baptist Theology Seminary, which hosts and has the Spurgeon Library. So excellent right there. Put that off to the side. So this is, volume 6, 1860. So when I was reading some of the history and showing these, so the publishers convinced Spurgeon to publish. He published his sermons weekly, and then at the end of the year, they would put all 52 or so sermons together in one book. And so that's what these are. And they did a total of 63 volumes of Spurgeon's sermons over his lifetime and ministry. They've been out of print for a while, and RHB and Midwestern are putting them back in print for all of us to enjoy. So there we go. Look at that. So, and then the last one, volume 1. So let's get this cellophane off and look at the inside. All right, cellophane off. Here we are, C.H. Spurgeon Sermons, New Park Street Pulpit, his signature, Volume 1, 1855. There's another look at the spine once I've taken the cellophane off. This is cloth over board. One of the reasons I got these volumes physically is I wanted to see how well they were being done by RHB. And this is really beautiful. Cloth over board. This work on the front as well as the spine. This material right here I thought might be synthetic leather, but it really feels like some type of really nice binding. It's obviously professional. I feel like it's probably very much in the league of what Crossway's been doing with John Owen's, the complete works of John Owen. So if you own one of those volumes, I think this is very close to that type of material. Looking at the binding, looks to be very well done. So let's go ahead and open this volume up for the first time. So there it is. So C.H. Spurgeon's Sermons, the New Park Street Pulpit, containing sermons preached and revised by the Reverend C.H. Spurgeon. For those who may not know, Spurgeon actually published his sermons while he was alive every single week. So he would preach them, he would have them written down, or he would write them down, and then he would lightly edit them and revise them with his own hand for publication. So volume 1, published by Reformation Heritage Books. They talk about here the set. So they are going to publish all 63 volumes of C.H. Spurgeon's sermons by RHB with this new treatment and release them in different sets with different themes. I'll cover more of that in what's unique about this set and the history of this set in that separate video I'm going to link in the description. But this is the new Park Street Pulpit and the Metropolitan Tabernacle Pulpit. Were originally published in London by Passmore and Alabaster from 1856 to 1918. It was then reprinted in Pasadena, Texas by Pilgrim Publications in 1969. I'll cover more of that in the publication history video of Spurgeon Sermons that I'm going to do. But Pilgrim Publications, the guy who did this, traveled around for 10 years getting the original unabridged sermons of Spurgeon. And that's what have been reprinted in here, is the facsimile is what they call it, the kind of copy / reprint of the exact sermons by Spurgeon, as you'll see in a second. So this volume is reprinted in 2024 by Reformation Heritage Books, and it's printed in China. We have a foreword here by Jason K. Allen, who is the president of Midwestern Baptist Theology Seminary, which is home of the Spurgeon Library and mostly all of Spurgeon's works. And so that's a story in and of itself, but he talks about how excited he is for this series and how important it is for people to read Spurgeon and be encouraged by his preaching. Then you have the publisher's preface by Dr. and Reverend Joel R. Beakey, who talks about how excited RHB is to be involved with this process. Then you have the revival years, the New Street Pulpit by Jeffrey Chang. This is the section I'm going to be getting into more in the history video, as well as some of the publication history of Spurgeon Sermons. So we'll dig into this content a little bit later. But you have these things. It talks about the theology of revival. They're putting these out in collections. So these first 6 volumes are called the revival years. And when you get into the history of it, you'll know why. So then you get into just scans, high quality, well done printed scans from Pilgrim Publications that are being re-put in these new bindings for people to get to be reprinted. Pilgrim Publications has been publishing all 63 volumes since 1970 or so. It was completed in 1980, the project. But they've since gone out of print and you can't get them physically. And so RHB and Midwestern are allowing us to get them physically in our hands and collect them and put them on the shelf once again. So you have there Spurgeon's preface to this volume. There are people who were trying to publish his sermons, rip them off, and he says, from now on in this sermon, in the preface here, this is my official publisher, and these are the ones that, he says right here, let it be understood until further notice that no sermons are genuine reports unless they bear the title, the New Park Street Pulpit, or the names Alabaster and Passmore, or else the words authored by Mr. Spurgeon. Necessity compels us to thus act, since otherwise prints without our revision or sanction are advertised, and no one can tell what is ours and what is another's. So you see another major reason he was pushed to officially sign with a publisher and do this work. And so then they have the contents, and you see right here, there's the words of Mr. Spurgeon as they were published in that day, which I think is super cool. I saw some people when this set dropped online, they were like, man, are they retypeset? And they were like, no, it's just a copy reprinting of the old ones. But I think they're really cool. I just think, wow, look at... I know some things are difficult to read, and there's some style changes, and if you did a modernized version with headings and stuff, but I just think, such nostalgia. So cool to have this edition in print. So these are the sermons, all 52/53, however many weeks or sermons he included for that year, all in this one volume. So sweet right there, all the way to the last one. So that is volume 1 So you get into volume 2, 1856. You're going to do very similar. Spurgeon, Park Street, Pulpit. Beginning preface from Mr. Spurgeon. And then you get into the same thing, contents, what they're going to be, as well as the sermons. So, super cool. So, very glad. I'm super excited to have this edition on the shelf. So, volume 3, 1857. Don't think we need to go through all of these to show them, but I'm just giving you the heads up. That's volume 3. Volume 4, 1858, Volume 5, 1859, and Volume 6, which is 1860. I'm going to put these off to the side a second. One thing I'm curious about, I'm wondering how the preface changed throughout different versions. So there's a drop cap right there. It's a little bit different than the first ones. So be interesting to read the beginning of each one to see Spurgeon's talk about his sermons. So anyway, pretty cool there. So, the best work has been done. The guy who did the Pilgrim Publications traveled around for 10 or so years, getting originals, getting the best scans of every single pages of these sermons. So I'm just... what work that was to go into it, and then to just have that again in these amazing cloth overboard, well done editions from RHB. So last but not least, let's look at the index. This is one of the big reasons that sold me on this collection specifically is even if I choose to get Spurgeon sermons later online, I have these first 6 I can go read physically, and I have the index for all 63 volumes physically. So that's a big deal for me. So this is a complete index. You have the new Park Street Pulpit and the Metropolitan Tabernacle. So pulpit, Metropolitan Tabernacle Pulpit. I keep messing that up. I'm sorry for that. But they built a much larger building for Spurgeon to preach in once God was revitalizing the church, and there were crowds of people who wanted to hear Spurgeon preach, and it became the Metropolitan Tabernacle. And so that's what that is signaling right there. So it says here a complete index of C.H. Spurgeon's sermons from 1855 to 1917. And so new Park Street Pulpit, and then when the church built the huge building, changed its name to the Metropolitan Tabernacle Pulpit. So this is the index for volumes 1 through 63. The chart indicates the volume in which each numbered sermon is printed. So you have the sermon number, volume number, and then the volume year right here. So this is all 63. So this is the sermons preached, so totaling up to 3,561 sermons that are in the 63 volumes, and the years all the way up to 1917. So part 1 is there's a subject index. So this is the subject index. So this index is divided into, I believe, 2 sections, subject and, yes, book of the Bible, so scripture, which is awesome. So textual index. So here's the subject index. You can go in here and just look for a subject. Maybe you're dealing with something about, it talks about angelic or angels, maybe anxiety or anxiousness. You could see each one of these: blessedness, the call of Abraham, the call to holy living. So each one of these is going to tell you the subject, the text that was from, the volume number that it's in, the year it was preached, the sermon number it was for Mr. Spurgeon, and then also the page on which you can find it in the volume number, which is pretty awesome that they have done this and put this together. This is something that back in the day they would not have had until the whole project was done, and now we have it in the first set of the promised 63 volumes, which is pretty awesome. So Putting ahead, part 2, the textual index. Textual index, Genesis right there, all the way through Genesis. Same thing again. Book of the Bible, text, volume number, year, sermon number, when it was for Spurgeon's preaching, as well as the page number on which it's located in that volume. So, for those wondering, this paper is really good. It's not doing too much show through. It's kind of an off-white. If you have Crossway's Stephen Charnock's The Existence and Attributes of God, it feels very much like that paper. It's very high quality, well done paper. I have Bavinck's deluxe edition of the Reformed Dogmatics, very similar paper to that as well. So there's this textual index. Let's see if there's anything else after that. So nope, there is not. So that is the physical index. I do not know in the future when RHB continues if they're going to, I doubt they're going to put this index with every single set that comes out. That would seem like a waste. It probably will publish it separately with future sets as they continue through the 63, but we will see what happens. I'm so thankful RHB is going to do this set. And so here, let me put them all together for you guys. They all match beautifully. And then you have the index right there. So wow, just look at this beautiful set by RHB. So thankful to the partnership of RHB and Midwestern to bring us these volumes, and I'm excited to see what the future will hold. So that's my set. If you have any questions, I'd love to answer them in the description. As I've already mentioned a couple times in this video, I'm going to be doing 2 more videos at least on this section or this set and this content. I want to do a history of publication of Spurgeon sermons. If you want all of Spurgeon sermons, what sets do you need? What do you have to buy? What are some of the digital options? What are some of the physical options out there? What's the publication history of Spurgeon sermons? So I'm going to do a video on that. It'll be linked in the description as soon as it comes out. I also want to dive into the history of these volumes specifically. So the revival years, what was going on in Spurgeon's life, what was going on in the church that Spurgeon was preaching to when these volumes were being released, written, and the sermons in them when they were being preached. And so I think that would be pretty cool. So I'll link that in the description below as well. For those who are curious, I'm not sure if I'm going to continue getting every single physical volume set that comes out from RHB. I tend to be a collector. I tend to be someone who wants to complete things. So I'm guessing I'm probably going to stay around for the journey and at the end of it have all 63 physical volumes. But by getting this set, and that's the reason really I got this set, I can make that decision later. So I get these first 6, which are obviously different than the Metropolitan Tabernacle Pulpit. So it's the early years. It's 6 volumes. I got to see how they were printed. And I also got the index for all volumes. So I got the physical index for all 63. I'm going to cover in one of the other videos, one of the digital versions, since I use Logos Bible software, is you can get all 63 volumes on Logos. And so I think that might be a way forward. So I can honestly get these 6 volumes plus the index. I have physical volumes I can read, but then I also have them digitally. And so then I get to make the decision from there if I'm going to continue to get the sets that RHB is going to release as they come out. I probably am going to do so, but it's going to be quite the investment as well. But I think it's worth it because of his preaching, because of the rich theology, and because of the influence Spurgeon has. It's just such an encouragement. If you've never read a Spurgeon sermon, get one, read it. It will be life breath to your soul as God is preached to you, encouraged, and you grow closer to him through the preaching of his word of Mr. Spurgeon. So with that, until next time, continue to read, treasure, follow the word. God bless, and I'll see you guys soon.